Hello friends, and welcome to my channel. As promised, I'm going to show you how I make my travel journals. If you haven't seen my previous video, don't worry, I'm going to do a flip through with you and you'll be able to see what we're going to work on today. At the front and side, you'll see a pocket on the left. It has 3 signatures, and we're going to be adding in this dotted paper. On the back, we have another pocket, which is the same as the front. If you want to craft along with me, here are the supplies you'll need. You'll need a hole punch and an eyelet setter. You'll need a long arm stapler or a stitching kit. You'll need a pair of scissors, a bone folder, a ruler, razor knife, a pointy tool, a corner rounder, cutting mat, scoreboard, and paper trimmer. You'll also need glue of your choice. I've chosen these 2 for my project. You'll need some score tape, some eyelets, a book plate. If you don't plan on using a book plate, you can use whatever embellishments you want. You're going to need to print out 45 double-sided dot grid papers. You're going to want a piece of poster board or a piece of cardboard from a cereal box or cracker box or whatever product you may have. Then you're going to want 6 coordinating scrapbook pieces of paper and a large piece of chipboard. I get my 12 by 12 sheets from Amazon, and I'll leave a link for you in the description down below. For this project, I've decided to go with this color box paper collection. It's actually really nice. I got it from Walmart, and I don't typically buy anything like this from Walmart, but when I saw these pattern papers, I just had to have it, and I really think that the quality is good enough to make these journals today, so that's what we're going to be using. We'll start this project by cutting our chipboard. If you don't have a large piece of chipboard like I do, all you need is 2 pieces that measure 8 by 4 and 5/8. We'll cut this chipboard with a razor knife using our ruler and cutting mat. Remember, when you do this, you need to cut nice and slow so you don't hurt yourself and you get an even cut. Then you're going to want to cut a piece of poster board or cardboard at 3 by 8. This is going to be your spine. Then we're going to move on to our cover page. You're going to want to make sure that this page is exactly 12 by 12. Figure out where your top is going to be. Flip it over, and you're going to make these measurements. Don't let this intimidate you. I'm going to walk you through the process. Okay, let's start marking our pattern. Use a ruler of your choice. I have this one, which helps me with my measurements, but you can use whatever you have. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin at the bottom and measure up a half an inch. I have a cheater ruler. So a half an inch from the bottom. Then we're gonna measure up 9 inches. So let's make our marks. Nine. We'll mark that. Whoops. Okay. Then we're going to measure down a half an inch. Sorry about that. I'm going to cheat again with my ruler here. This will be the 8.5 inch mark. Oh man. Okay. Then we're going to come down here and find our center at 6 inches. Then we're going to make a mark at 5 1/4 and at 6 3/4. We're going to do the same to the line at the second to the top. Five 1/4, 6 3/4. We're going to make our line. On both sides. Okay, so this is 1.5 inches. This is going to be our spine. This cardboard piece is going to be used to make our spine stronger. And what we're going to do here is just kind of eyeball the center on both the top and the bottom. And we're going to make dash lines. Whoops. Oops. On both sides. Okay. Now what we're going to do is measure from this line over 4 5/8 of an inch. And make a mark. I'm going to turn our ruler around and do the same for the other side. We'll do the same on the top and the bottom. And then we'll make our lines there. Okay, you should have 3 inches left at the top here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this off, and we're going to use that to cover our spine. Sorry for the pattern change, guys, but I had a bit of a mishap and needed to correct it. All right, so now that we have our 3 inch piece, we're going to turn it over. Set it aside, and we're going to get our score tape. There it is, sorry. And we're going to put score tape along our dashed lines that we created earlier. Okay, we're gonna burnish those down with our bone folder. And then we're gonna set it aside. We're gonna grab our poster board or cardboard. I'm gonna add some score tape to the top and the bottom. And I like to use Fabri-Tac for this. Sorry, let's back up. Let's burnish these down. And take our pointy tool or pokey tool and take off the backing. Goodness, I'm having one of those days today. All right, now I like to use my Fabri-Tac and go around the edges and in the center. I want to make sure this flower is in my center design here. So now I'm gonna line these up, starting at the bottom. Now don't worry if you don't get this perfectly on there. It's not gonna show, like if your edges are off a little, it's okay, because it's gonna be covered up anyway. Okay, now I'm gonna use my scissors and cut off the end here. Okay. Now we're gonna get our scoreboard and our bone folder. Okay, let's see here. Where are we gonna mark this? So this is gonna hit at 4.5 inches and 7.5 inches. So you wanna line it up there. You wanna grab your ruler. Line it up on your 6-inch center mark and score down the middle. Hold it down and move your ruler to the side. We're gonna go to 5 3/4. Score at that line. Then you're gonna go to 5.5. Score at that line. And then down to 5 1/4. After that, we're gonna go back over to this side. Score at 6 1/4. Six and a half. And then 6 3/4. All right. Now we're going to work the center a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of make your curves a little bit. Okay, now we're going to bring back our cover sheet. We're going to remove our score tape. We need to put some tape on the back. Okay, let's put score tape on the top and the bottom. I'm telling you, I am having one of those days today. My goodness. Again, burnish it down with your bone folder. Remove the backing with your pokey tool. And we're gonna add our fabric tack to the back. Okay, now again, we're gonna line it up to our score lines. On the bottom there. And make sure it's lined up at the top here. All right, and burnish it down. Okay, we're gonna set this aside again. We're gonna grab our chipboard pieces. We're gonna put score tape along the back of both of those. Now just burnish these down and remove the backing. Grab the fabric tack again and go down the centers here. Okay, I think they have plenty of glue and will attach really well. Okay, have a little glue drop there. Okay. Now these pieces, you're going to want to line up from the 4 1/4 mark and the 6 3/4 mark. So this score line is going to be a great guide for you. So what you're going to want to do is put it as close to the score line as you can, but not over it, and press down. Burnish it in. And let's do the same for the other side. I'm going to flip mine around. It helps me a little bit. Line up at the score line. Press down. And there we go. All right. Now, what we're going to do is snip off the corners. You don't want to get too close to the cardstock, or sorry, the chipboard. You do this, not too close. And don't worry, you see my lines are off a little bit, but that's okay. It'll all work out in the end. Okay. Now we need to snip a couple pieces off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up here and we're gonna line our scissors up and snip right here on top on this side and also at this side, meeting at that corner spot of the chipboard. Both ends. Okay, now we're going to take our ruler and our razor knife and cut off those pieces. That one did really well. Let's see if this one will do just as well. And we did. Okay, we're gonna put score tape all along the edges here. Then we're gonna burnish it down and take off the backing. Now, since I didn't take my score tape all the way to the edges here, I'm going to take my art glitter glue. Wow, it's really in there. And put a little glue on all the edges here. Okay, now I like to work my edges like this before I put them down to get a good nice fold line on all sides. Just like that. So I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Apparently, I still cut my corners a little short, but that's okay. Most of it's going to be covered up with the cover page here. We're going to put on in just a second. Okay, now we're going to grab our 2 pieces. We're going to cut those. These are our inside covers, okay? So they're cut at 7 3/4 by 4 1/2. You're going to want 2 of those, and you're going to want to ink the edges if that's what you want to do. On this particular one, I'm not going to ink the edges just to save us some time. So what I do with these is I glue these on with Fabri-Tac. So I'm going to flip these over a little bit. Figure out which ones you want to use. I think I'm going to do this. Okay. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for this. Okay, you're going to take it all the way to the edge here, line it up, try to make sure that it has the same amount distance from the top and the bottom. And burnish it down really well. I'm going to do the same thing to this side. I know I use a lot of glue, but that's okay. Again, line it up, make sure that you have the same amount of space between the top and the bottom, all the way to the edge of that chipboard, and burnish it down. I have some seepage here, so I'm going to grab something to clean that off with. Okay, now we're going to grab our pocket pieces. Okay, we have 2 pieces. You're going to cut at 7 by 4, or excuse me, 4 by 7 inches. And you're going to want to score the side and bottom on both sides at 1/4 inch from the edge. Then you're going to take your ruler and measure over 1¼ inch. And you're gonna measure from the bottom to here at 3¼ You're gonna do the same on this side, 1¼ from the right edge and 3¼ from the bottom. You're gonna take your ruler and razor knife, or you can use your paper cutter. But I have a large paper cutter, so I'm just gonna do it this way. There we go. Okay. You can remove the pencil marks if you want to. Then I use my scissors and corner around these corners here, just by eye. I don't know what it is about being on camera, but for some reason it seems to be so much tougher to get things done on camera than it is to get it off camera. Okay. We're gonna cut off these corners here at the crossroads. Then we're gonna fold them up. And this is where I like to use my art glitter glue again. It really doesn't need a lot. So with these pockets, you can place them down wherever you want. I like to place them down on the edge of the back side cover papers here. Press it down really good. Okay, same to the other side. A little bit of glue coming out. That's okay, we can fix that up. Now we have our book together, and what you want to do is gently start folding it in. Gently start making those rounded, gently start making that rounded spine. I just kind of work it back and forth like this. And then when I feel like it's safe, I like to close it and work it in on the outside. You don't want to press too hard or be too rough with it. Just gently. And there you go. You want to be gentle to make sure you don't crack your paper. Okay, there you go. Now, we're going to want to add our holes for our eyelets. What I like to do is take my ruler. I know that my spine is 1.5 inches, and it is perfectly. Take my pencil, excuse me, come down or come up maybe like, I don't know, 1/4 inch. And then I'm gonna measure over to 3/8 inch, 3/4 inch, and then 1 1/8 inches. I'm gonna do the same on the top. Look, I've already done it. Now you're gonna grab your hole punch. So I'm gonna be using smaller eyelets, so I need to make sure that I use the 1/8 inch hole punch. I line this up by kind of putting the punch down a little bit and centering it around the dot that I created. And hope and pray that I line it up perfectly. That one's a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's do the other side. That came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Okay, now we're gonna add in our eyelets. I've gone ahead and added my eyelets. I did my center eyelet at 4 inches down the center. I've used an old tool from Making Memories. Has the hole punch and the eyelet setter. So now that that is done, you're going to want to get your elastic. I really don't measure mine out. I just take my roll and I start going down the center of the top. Bring it back in through the side here on the left. And pull it all the way through until I have my tail, which looks like a big mess. Of course, I made a knot. Sorry about that. All right, so I pull it all the way through until I have my tail. And then I go through the bottom left and up through the center. Then I pull this string aside and go through the top. If it's not easy to do, I normally grab my pointy tool and poke it through. Looks like I'm gonna have to do that. Hopefully I can grab it. Yep, I got it. You can pull it all the way through, but what I like to do is go in from the right side and then pull it through. Then go down through the bottom and back in through the center. Again, using the pokey tool. Come on, work with me today. There we go. There we go. Pull it all the way through. And on my elastic, I like to make sure that it's nice and snug. So I'm gonna hold on to this end here and pull this one up. Pretty good. I like it pretty tight. That's pretty good. Then I'm gonna come over here to the right and I'm gonna pull that pretty good. That's good. Then come down here to the bottom center and pull that until I have it where I want it. All right, now I like to stretch these pretty tight too, so I'm gonna cut this a little short, probably about right there. And tie these two ends together. It's more difficult than it looks. Okay, let's hold on to that one. There we go. Pull this one a little bit, wrap it around, and there we go. All right, now, I also like to shorten mine down a little bit. That's probably pretty good, but anyway. All right, then I like to burn the edges so it doesn't fray. There we go. All right, now that's all ready to go for our signatures. We'll put it aside. Now I'll have our signature covers here. They measure 8.5 by 11 and scored down the center at 5.5. You'll do that to each of these. Then you'll grab your scoreboard and your printed paper. The reason I like to use my scoreboard is because it's a lot quicker to use. Okay, so all I do is I light up the 2 corners and fold in half. Again, line up 2 corners and fold in half. But of course, I have all of mine prepared. So now we're just gonna make our booklets. Okay. And this is where you're gonna need your long arm stapler or your stitching kit. I'll grab my first cover page. Put it in the center here. You're gonna want to use some clips to hold it in place. The top and the bottom. Okay. Bring in my stapler. And you're going to want to put one down the center, of course, and then one on each side. Take your clips off, and there you go. Burnish it down. Each of these signatures, I forgot to mention, I apologize, but each of these signatures have 15 folded pages for a total of 30. So now we're gonna get our cutting mat, our ruler, and our razor knife. These signatures measure 7 3/4 by 4 3/4. So what I want to do is turn it to the side here, and we're going to measure our 7 3/4. Seven 3/4. And take our ruler, line this up. We're going to take our razor knife and go nice and slow and cut this off. Now we're going to measure over 4 3/4. Take a razor knife and again, cut nice and slow. We're gonna do this for the next two booklets. Now we're gonna take our corner rounder and round all the corners. Here are all of my signatures with the corners rounded. They're all ready to go. But one thing that I forgot to mention earlier when we were using our elastic is the elastic that we need to put into the centerpiece. So what I like to do is grab the elastic and bring it around. I'm gonna stretch it pretty tight, but not super tight. And I'll cut it off about right there. Well, actually a little further. We're gonna be making a knot, so let me cut it off of there. And that end is frayed, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my lighter at both ends. Put them together. Make a knot. And make sure that knot goes all the way to the end as far as we can. Just like that. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to push it through the center here. And of course it doesn't want to go. Come on, baby. All right, pokey tool, where are you? There it is. Okay, we're gonna use our pokey tool instead. Come on. This doesn't want to cooperate with me today. All right, there we go. Okay. So now that that is in there, we're gonna take our signatures and put them in. And in the center here, you're gonna have two strings. One has the knot on it. I choose not to use that one. Then the last one, come on. Just like that. And there we go. Now for the book plates. For the book plate, what I use is Fabri-Tac. And I know that these come with these teeny tiny screws. And instead of showing you, I'm just going to tell you how I do it. So what I like to do is put these in here, and I will take, I'll put these in here, and then I will take a pair of cutting pliers and cut that off as close as I can. And I'll use Fabri-Tac all around here before I put it on. At this point, if you don't want a book plate, feel free to embellish these however you'd like. I hope that you've enjoyed crafting along with me and you've made this beautiful journal for yourself. Stay tuned for more videos, and I look forward to seeing you soon.